Welcome back. My name is Kit.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, streaming Severance, this time episode 7 of season 1, Defiant Jazz.
Defiant Jazz, baby. Let's snap them fingers. One time I had to film a jazz concert for a live stream. It was like a local jazz conglomerate. There's like 12 musicians. It was insane. Not all of them played at the same time, of course. Like some people played for one song and then the others would hop in for another. But there was several times where they were like, you know how in jazz, it's like, okay, everyone gets a solo, now go. And there was one song where all 12 of them did their own solo and it was like, holy shit, this is taking forever. This song is 25 minutes long.
Steve loves live music.
If this was Star Wars, it would be called Defiant Jazz.
Yes.
Which would be weird. Mm-hmm. You know, in some ways, Lumen is a hive of scum and villainy.
This is true.
As far as we can tell. If you've never listened to the show before, what we are going to do, the journey we're about to embark on, is giving our overall thoughts round the table on the episode 7, and then we'll do a full recap and play-by-play of the episode itself, and we'll wrap it all up with a few fun segments like our Kier's 3 mandates, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode, as well as nominate our Waffle Party recipient, talk about our favorite performance in episode 7. Thank you for joining us for this Severance coverage. Reminder that season 2 drops on Apple TV Plus on January 17th. As we're recording this on January 5th, Apple TV is currently free, so hopefully you took advantage of that if you hadn't embarked on that journey yet. But by the time you hear this, it's over, so you're gonna have to subscribe.
Yeah. Also, if you're hearing this, we are recording remotely, so there's going to be a little bit of difference in our voice and the visuals because there's a snowstorm happening in our area, and we thought it would be safest to just do it remotely, and we're going to be doing this all week. So Monday's episode this week, this episode, and Friday's episode will all be done remotely. We'll remind you on Friday again, but just wanted to make sure you guys knew that there's a little bit of difference, and that's why.
It's coming down out there now.
Yeah.
Last what was that, Monday that the last episode came out?
Yeah.
Nothing. But now, Wednesday.
Yeah, that's that news.
I love how the listeners are kind of on this snow journey with us. Like Friday, they're going to listen in like, did they survive? Did they make it? Did the snows take them?
But they're not going to know for sure until Monday if we lived.
That's true.
That's when it's really going to start cooking. Go to patreon.com/streamingthings to listen to our Game of Thrones coverage. January has 2 special movie bonus episodes. One of them is The Iron Giant. The other is a mystery. Also, as you're listening to this, you're very close to getting access to our Arcane coverage, which should be dropping soon. So look forward to that as well. Lots of good stuff coming up in 2025 on Streaming Things. Thank you for your support. Let's get into Severance, guys. Andy, I'm very curious what you thought of episode 7, Defiant Jazz.
I think that this is the best episode of this show so far. It is phenomenal. Like the last one, I complained that it was all preamble and no payoff. This is the total opposite. This episode feels like it's all payoff.
No preamble.
Some post-amble.
Yeah, dude, there's so much shit that goes on. And the crazy fucking twist, I forgot all about it until it happened. This episode's it's insane. It's heartbreaking. It's fucking weird. It's eerie. It's good shit.
Hell
Awesome.
yeah. Yeah, what an episode. I agree with you, Andy. This is the best episode so far this season. It's cooking on all fronts. Not only do we have that incredible reveal at the end of the episode, which I remember the first time I watched this. So I remembered that this reveal was coming. But I do remember the first time I did watch the show, when this reveal hit, it took me. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't see it coming. And as soon as it happened, I'm like, oh, of course, wow. And it's so cool the ways that not only do they reveal it, but then even as they're revealing it, they're connecting the two characters with what Mark's saying. And it's awesome the way they did that reveal. But also we get maybe one of the greatest scenes put to TV ever, and that is the dance party where Milchick is like doing his little dance moves and the lights are flickering.
Moves, man.
Yeah, he does. He's killing it out there. And I love how like they got the lights going on and they cut to Adam Scott and that like really famous gif of him like awkwardly dancing, like awkward white guy dancing. It's so funny. But then of course what really makes the episode sing, aside from the plot twist, is just the interpersonal stories that are happening specifically with Dylan and Irving. Those two characters go through such a transformation, specifically Dylan in this episode, and it's just really great to see where those characters are ending up and how they're sort of growing and sort of maturing to the idea of, hey, Lumen sucks, let's get a revenge, let's burn this place to the ground, all that stuff.
You better not.
You better not. Don't do it. It's not safe, but it's good. I love this episode so much. Kit, what about you?
I agree with you guys. I think this is the best episode of Severance so far, but very potentially the best episode, period. This was a huge reveal. It's kind of what I was alluding to last, on Monday, about like the payoff of the mysteries, just really feeling like they organically come from left field. They're surprising you, but not because they weren't there, not because the show's creators weren't playing by the rules, but just because it's like a good twist. It's the kind of show that when you rewatch, unless you wait 3 years, you'll get to pick up other things and how they laid the breadcrumbs. But unfortunately, Andy and I just completely blacked out, and it was just an organic reveal. It's kind of a funny story. We were recording episode 5, and we took a break to eat a potbelly sandwich. Not the same sandwich split 3 ways, but we each had our own sandwich, just to be clear.
No, we
held it in the center and we all leaned in.
we were Lady and the Tramping it. Like 2 of us from each side were getting closer and closer, and then Andy came into the middle
Andy just came in the middle like a shark and went hard. No, we could afford 3 sandwiches thanks to the DoorDash gift card gifts that the patrons sent. Yeah. Thank you for that. But Steve said something. We were like, I still had to watch like 12 minutes of episode 5. So I put that on, and Miss Casey showed up, and Steve said something like, "Oh, that's my wife," as if to impersonate Mark. And Andy didn't hear. And I was like, oh, because it was a spoiler. But it wasn't a spoiler because I fucking watched this show before. So it's not like Steve's fault or anything. But I was like, oh my God. And Andy was like, what? And I was like, I don't want to spoil it for you. So it was this really comical interaction because, again, we've all seen the show. And Steve's like, what?
What do you mean spoiler?
That's how thoroughly we had forgotten that. But yeah, it's such a great twist, such a great reveal.
We might be getting ahead of ourselves, but Andy, as someone who I didn't spoil it for a second time for, what was your reaction like in the moment when they revealed that Miss Casey and Gemma are one of the same?
So I remembered it as he was taping it back together and they were covering up her face. I was like, hang on.
Yeah, the finger keeps being placed in front of her face.
Yeah. And I was squeezing this in during a lull at work. And so like I pause it and I look around because it's one of those, like, you want to experience it with other people, but nobody's watching it with me. So I'm just like, you guys, it's his wife. But yeah, it's such a good twist.
She's not dead.
Right. Yeah. And like they do such a good job of like convincing you that she's dead. Like it's not like anybody could have predicted it, right? Like, or maybe they did. I don't know, but I didn't. That's for sure. And like they, what I meant was they just did such a good job of like they show him like everybody has mourned her, and we get so much backstory of she used to, all his past tense with Gemma, and we get the shot of him at her crash site and stuff. So they laid all of the throw you off bits so well that when it finally does hit, it's like, oh fuck, nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, because even when they were talking about Gemma at one of Rickon's dinner parties, they had mentioned that she taught at the same school that Mark taught at as a Russian literature expert. Mm-hmm. And so if they're like, oh, she was a therapist, I feel like someone would be like, oh, Miss Casey's a therapist. Could it be Miss? But the fact that they're like, no, she's a completely separate person, like all people are. Is Miss
Casey a therapist though?
Well, that's the thing. Like, yeah, it seems like they just wake her up and have her read note cards to people.
Yeah.
But still, like if she was a therapist, I think you would align those characters a lot more quickly. But now that you know that she is Gemma, you can go back and kind of connect a couple more dots and stuff, I think, and that's really great.
Well, the main thing that reveal does is recontextualizes Cobell's obsession with sending Mark to wellness just to see what happens in Milchick's weirdness with it. And it seems like she gets something out of watching them interact.
Yeah.
Even and knowing that they're husband and wife and knowing that Mark on the outside is devastated by her loss. And yet when he sees her, feels nothing. And she seems to like I said, there's not eroticism, but she's very creepy.
She's watching it like it's her favorite telenovela. Like she's like getting into it. Like her two favorite characters on the sitcom are like, ooh, will they, won't they?
This is the will they, won't they energy that Dylan thinks he has with Miss Casey.
Yeah.
Which could have been another Easter egg, even though it's a joke.
It's true.
Lots of good stuff there to dig into. So we're going to get into it. We're going to do our full recap after a brief word from one of our sponsors.
This episode of Streaming Things is sponsored by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.
You know, Steve, there's something I need to get off my chest.
What's that, fella?
It's been weighing on me. You know that I resigned at the day job recently, right? And I've been a little scared. There's a family to worry about. There's health insurance. There's capitalism.
Sounds like a stressful time.
But we all carry around different stressors, big and small. And it feels better when you bring something to the light and keep them bottled up. It can start to affect us negatively. And therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. In my case, it's all of the stress, the misery, the fear. But I had to come over here and share that with you, and I felt better. You know, that's a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
Unloading all that on you and Erica and feeling better myself.
That sounds like my Friday night.
Sometimes you just need somebody to listen. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you're not vibing, that's completely fine. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
We're back. It's time for the recap. But first, let's see what Apple TV has to say about what goes down in episode 7. They describe the episode thusly. Mark and the team encounter new security measures from Cobell.
The end.
It's true, though, Andy.
The episode is just them walking up like, oh, there's a door here now. Cut to credits. Cobell!
What the fuck? That's awesome.
It's like a normal synopsis would have like 3 of those for each plot thread, but they just do like the first one and say, which I respect because it's a mystery show. You don't want to give away too much.
Yeah,
I feel like they're just overly cautious, and that's what makes those comically non-descriptive.
Wouldn't it be, at one point, one of the synopses for these episodes are going to be like, Mark and team star in this episode of Severance.
I feel like it should have just been, let them dance.
Let them dance.
There's men dancing outside our door. Let's go fuck them in the ass. I think, so Ben Stiller directed this episode. He directed 6 of the 9, as far as I recall. That's just an interesting little tidbit.
The first 3 and the last 3.
Oh, really?
Yep.
He just took a break in the middle.
Yep.
It's like Andy's sex move.
Oh, you know it.
He just takes a break in the middle.
Just take a little nap.
Get on top, baby. Do what you like. Oh, you like that?
You like that?
Anyway, a little Tenacious D humor there. But the show, this episode starts off right where the last episode ended with Mark meeting Reghabi at the college. And she says that she's the one that put that chip in his head, and she's the only one who can deactivate it. And he's like, well, you killed Petey, so I don't think that's a good idea to do to me. And she's like, the procedure didn't kill Petey. I gave him post-op instructions that he did not follow, and that's why he's dead.
3 weeks of bed rest. You got to sign up to one of those mind exercise apps on your phone. You pay for the year, but you're only going to use it for a month and then forget about it. So just might as well cut your subscription right then and there. You also got to do lunges. That's really what killed him. He didn't do the lunges.
Didn't do the lunges.
Steve, you sounded like you have personal experience with meditation apps that you don't use.
Oh, I keep getting notifications about Mind Lapse, the app I use.
This episode also starts with "Who are you?" The same way that the pilot does.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Good catch. I did not grab that.
Who are you? What does Kier like for having for breakfast? What? Right?
Right. And she senses the reticence that Mark has, but he kind of pushes back on it. He's like, no, I'm cool with all this, right? And she says, no, you brought your innie into this world without his permission, based on your own desire for emotional convenience.
And put him on blast.
That strikes a chord in Mark, and then Grainer shows up, just sees Mark there. Mr. Scout, I know you from work. Are you talking to somebody there?
It's me, Doug.
And
then Reghabi walks up behind him, is like, "Hey, funny!" and like knocks him on the back of the head.
She skeeters him. Hits him with the patty mayonnaise.
That was a Roger voice, right? Hey, funny!
Yeah. Hey, funny!
That's right, Roger, not Skeeter. Skeeter's his buddy. Yeah, she baseball bats the fuck out of him.
Holy shit.
Dude.
Like Inglourious Basterds style.
How insane was that? Like, because this is a show that up until this point is like...
No violence.
Yeah, there's some fucked up shit going on, but there's no violence at all. And then just bludgeoning of a man's head. So
That's
violently.
what I love about this show. That's what I mean when I say that it's worth the journey. Because it's like kind of quirky and funny and weird and uncomfortable. And then in these last 3 episodes, it's just like... Inglourious Basterds meets Eyes Wide Shut. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God. Let's fucking go. My favorite things. For me personally. I'm like, yes. Put me in, coach. Yeah, she beats his fucking brains in with a baseball bat. That's what she does.
And poor Mark's like, what the fuck?
You guys think he's going to be okay?
I think so.
He's going to pull through, Mark. Just don't throw up.
And she steals Grainer's security clearance card, gives it to Mark, and says, take it to work tomorrow. He'll know what to do, which is fucking great. And then takes Petey's phone and says, just, first, don't throw up. Your DNA's all over that. Don't be a fucking bitch. You're going to ruin this. Go home, get rid of your clothes. And she screams at him, get the fuck out of here. And he does ultimately throw up, but he does it outside, which I think is safe, right? There's lots of vomit outside.
Yeah, that's a college campus.
Yeah.
People throw up there all the time. All the fluids that are on the college campus. There's so many.
That'd be funny if there was like a dude on ketamine out there, like, right?
Finals week, am I right?
Too much Adderall. Yeah, so then he returns home in a panic, starts getting rid of his clothes, and then he hears something, and it's like he forgot that Alexa was there, which of course he could be forgiven for forgetting certain things after witnessing a brutal murder.
Yeah.
And Alexa walks in. Where were you? He tries to lie. He's so fucking bad. Who, me?
Yeah, he can't think on his feet at all, dude. Oh, I was just hanging out.
I heard you leave in the car, and he's like, you heard a car?
That's crazy. There's not typically cars around here.
Could
Weird.
have been a dream.
She's like, I've been up for 3 hours. You haven't been home. And he's like, I just need to go for a drive, right? He starts to recover a little bit.
And keep in mind,
but first he says maybe it was just a dream.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this entire conversation is happening, and he's just standing in the kitchen in his underwear, having just thrown away his clothes in the garbage.
Yeah, he's like sweaty, out of breath, got some vomit down the side of his cheek.
Yeah.
Then he starts to get kind of normal about it, or at least say something like that would apply. And he's like, look, this whole thing is just a lot for me. It's just weird.
It's a big deal for me.
Do you want me to go? Which, of course, he does. Like, I need to be alone right now. I'm covering up a murder. So he goes, maybe?
Yeah.
Which is really hurtful to Alexa. And it's very sad.
Because you think if he hadn't gone off and witnessed a murder, he would have wanted her to stay. Like, it seemed like he was actually about to maybe turn a corner on being more healthy and having someone to share that with and to move on with his life. But then this happens, and he kind of, just by the situation, he needs to get rid of her so that he can cover up the murder.
Right. And it's unfortunate because Petey's being a real cock blocker because he was doing good and then he had to like flashback his death to Mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Real piece of shit.
That's not a thing a friend would do. Personally,
Hey guys, if I die randomly, I promise I won't haunt you in flashbacks post coitus.
I appreciate you. Give me at least a couple hours,
Right?
Because he might have been going back. Steve does that now.
It's during. I
He's
promise
always
I'll
popping up when I'm masturbating.
I'll only do it during Andy's break period.
That's the time. It's the refractory period is the only time your death can pop up.
Hey, buddy.
That's what a friend would do.
Do you remember the accident? And then I'm gone.
Mark might have been working on seconds and fucking Petey, dude. Just rolling up in there. What's up? What are you guys doing?
Hey, did you go see my sister's band or my daughter's band?
Is she like Metallica? Yeah. And Metallica's not good sex music either, by the way.
Give me food, give me fire, give me shots of Zion.
Sets the rhythm, you know?
Maybe old Metallica, like Kill 'Em All. Whiplash. So anyway, she leaves. It's not looking good for their relationship yet again. He gets ready for work, does take Grainer's security clearance with him, and then he puts his clothes in the trash outside. Not a great place to dispose of the murderer clothes, but he's doing his best.
Especially with Cobell next door, who's just always dumpster diving.
She pops up immediately. Mark, you usually dispose of your waste in the early afternoon. He's like, oh, yeah, do I?
It's weird that you know that.
It's snowing, and she pulls the Jack Frost needs some new dandruff shampoo. I don't know why I did an Adam Sandler voice for Selvig there.
I mean, you probably could put Adam Sandler in a wig.
Better. It goes on first and cleans the hair. No, conditioner is better.
Conditioner is better.
It makes the hair silky and smooth.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Anyway, that's a funny interaction. He's a little nervous, but he does drive off with the security card. We cut to Milchick, who is checking the new macro data door. He checks it thoroughly. You got to imagine at a certain point that just became fun for him.
Oh yeah,
like, this is dope.
He was trying to
cool.
He was trying to make like a beat or a song with the doors closing.
They should have shown him like hold like a carrot up and close the door, and it snaps, and he goes nice. You know what I mean? Like
he just becomes an absolute dude in that moment. Like, oh, I want to get an empty can, see if we can break that. Just, what will these doors snap?
Well, there is a disco light setting in that office for some reason, and he could have turned that on and just really had a good time. And he does go behind the toilet, grab the card that Dylan stole. And it's interesting. I was thinking about this during this episode. He chose to go into overtime mode and wake Dylan up to get that card. That's how important it was. He was panicking. But he clearly didn't search the office thoroughly before he did that. He could have waited until the morning to ask any Dylan where it was and tell him that he knows he took it. But it was like that important that he had to make sure he didn't take it off site. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything where I'm going with this. I just think it's interesting.
I agree with you because not only did he, like you said, awaken Dylan off site, but then he went,
which creates obviously tons of problems by doing that.
It does. Yeah. It creates tons of problems, but then he also goes in and he takes a sweet ass time doing the normal opening procedures. He does the door thing. He's turning the lights on. He's doing his normal stuff. And then he goes and finds the card. So it makes me wonder, like it makes me think that Milchick maybe he's doing something on purpose. Like maybe he's trying to create problems. I don't know. There's something strange about what he specifically is doing here.
Yeah, he's making a lot of mistakes, really. Both he and Cobell are, but it was interesting that he decided to do that and then didn't even grab the card until the next morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, what was the point of that? But yeah,
to introduce it to us as the viewers that they're capable of it, right?
Sure, but I think the writing has given me, there's no reason for me to doubt
confidence that they have
there wasn't a character motivation behind that. Yeah.
Could it also just be a simple matter of like he didn't know where the card was? Dylan told him, "Oh, it's still at the office underneath the toilet. That's where it's at." Maybe at that point he's like, "Oh, okay, it's not out and about. He didn't take it home with him. There's no real need to worry because it's just there in the office, and who cares? It's there."
Sure, but he trusted Dylan in that moment okay. Even though it was so important that I needed to break this protocol. He didn't even tell Cobell that he woke Dylan up, right? So
yeah.
He went outside of his purview there.
He went rogue.
and then just believed what Dylan said. Oh, okay, cool, bro. Cool. I love, that's my favorite shitter as well. That's fair.
Yeah, that's why I personally think that he's up to something. Like he's got his own plans and plots that we're not aware of yet.
Everybody's got a favorite toilet at work, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a shitter toilet.
Mm-hmm. Got to find the nice private one. People almost never go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you find somebody like a new hire, like shitting in one of the pee toilets, you're like, savage, dude.
Yeah.
So much foot traffic in here. You're just dropping trow. I trained you to shit in the oven. Actually, I wouldn't have. I would never.
No, you don't tell someone about your
give away your
spot.
secret.
No, you don't want.
I'm like Burt, and I'm like, I found this place. It could be
a
us.
special place.
Lip-to-lip contact isn't discouraged.
I was training my replacement at work, and even though I have no skin in the game, it was just my natural inhibition to not show him the poop toilet in the office.
Oh, really?
Until my very last day, I was like, do you want like a refresher on where everything is? And he's like, sure. And at that point, I was like, oh yeah, there's a toilet back here too. It's great for shitting. And he's like, oh, that would have been so nice to know the last 2 weeks.
Yes,
like, well, it was for me.
Just to be clear, if I wasn't leaving, I wouldn't be showing you this.
Yeah.
And if I come back, you get the fuck out.
Dude, for us at work, we have to warn the new hires of the bathroom guy that blows it the fuck up at about 2:00 every day.
What?
It's like,
who is this
nuclear.
legend?
Dude, it's unbelievable. It's like he has like medical issues or something, but it is poignant. When he walks down the hallway, it lingers after him. Like it's
pungent.
Is it pungent or poignant?
Oh yeah, I said poignant. Yeah,
it's not poignant.
It's so pungent.
You cry one single tear every time he does it.
But yeah, we just have to warn people away from one bathroom.
That's me, by the way, and I'm fucking with you, and I'm sorry. I drive all the way there to shit.
That's your secret bathroom?
Andy's going to be so mad. That's not all I do in there either.
Oh, God.
But anyway, he also Milchick goes to the O&D department as well to kind of accost those folk.
Well, he's going to visit Burt G. He's like, hey, I found the missing 7199G, which is the little, the self-defense card that Dylan stole. And I love how Burt's like, oh, 7199G. Oswald will be so excited.
Oh, this is wonderful.
He's been worried sick about 7199G.
And then Milchick says, you know what, you've been doing such a good job as head of this department. You deserve something special. And it's sinister. Again, Milchick has that ability to sound so evil when he says something nice. And Burt says, not a trip to the break room, I hope. Yesterday was quite enough. And so we find out that he has been sent there as well. And he's like, no, not that. Something better. It's juicy. It's eggs.
Tea?
And then Milchick is there at the in the lobby when Dylan wakes in the elevator, and immediately Dylan, because again, to Dylan, it's he ended work, went in the elevator, woke up in his closet at home, found out he had a son, and then he woke staring at Milchick. And for him, that's seven continuous seconds. You know, so it's so weird to keep that in your head when you're watching this show. And he goes, "What the hell was that?" And he tells him about the overtime contingency. And he's still talking shit about the little kid. He's like, was that my kid? Well, yeah, he violated the count to 1,000. That was the deal. But the overtime contingency, or OTC, is on need to know only, so do not tell your colleagues about this. And I'll rustle up some special perks for you, Dylan. I know you love special perks.
Oh yeah, he's trying to buy Dylan off.
Mm-hmm. He's trying to butter him up because he didn't tell Cobell about this, right? Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Mark is coming down to the office. And he's contemplating Grainer's security card, and you can see there's like a focal trick with the lens. You can see Judd in the background, and he does decide to take it down with him. He puts it in his pocket, right? And then Milchick is waiting for Mark as well. He's down there to escort him to his desk.
That's kind of a jump scare, I thought, when the elevator's open and he's like right there, like, oh my God, Milchick, hello.
And again, Mark's a little sassy nowadays, so he's like, okay, cool, let's go. I know the way. Let's do it. And then Milchick's, they're like, there's a dick contest, a little bit of a measuring, not just a dick contest, it's a measuring, just to be clear. That's a different.
How does one judge a dick contest?
It's a dick measuring contest.
And next, the cock push-ups.
It's like a relay race. No, that would be like tagging Irving in. It's like Mario Party,
got this,
but
Mark.
for dicks. Bunch of different mini games. By the way, just seeing
Mr.
how
Wiggler
Milchick
is
kind of
loose.
interacts in general, I think Mark would lose all of those. Just my guess. But back in the office, Helly's a little panicked, right? You can hear, I think it's Irving, of course, that says the renovations are very nice. Dylan's upset. He's like, I'm fine, right? And everybody notices he's being weird. And at that point, Milchick leaves and calls Cobell and says that, hey, Grainer didn't come in. Where are you at? He's a little perturbed as well.
He did a
Cobell,
no call,
by the
no
way,
show.
She is lactation consulting with Devon. I love this scene because she does actually a great job, and because I've been a part of many lactation sessions because I have children, not that I hang out at those places. And just to be clear, so she does a good job with her instructions, sort of, in her own little weird way, and then like slings the baby doll,
You try. Slam.
which is really interesting.
It's like, do you remember those old like wrestling buddies that they made in like the 80s and like Hulk Hogan? It's like she did one of those moves to that baby doll. Like, boom.
I had like the Chucky doll thing. It was called My Buddy and Me. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
I was like,
you're talking about like the pillow body, but the plastic head and Hulk Hogan and shit.
yeah.
I remember.
Yeah,
those.
that's what he's talking about. Yeah. And then the baby does baby sips, baby sips.
I don't like it.
To
And
say,
they're hanging out having a
if you
good
wanna
time.
have a-
Cobell's still in her funny airport breast milk story.
oh, that breast milk story slayed.
Oh, it's landing with Devon. She is loving that.
And then Cobell's like getting all into it too. She's like spraying like a fire hose and just getting really into the miming of it.
I have totes had a normal life and interactions with humans like this, and I can share them.
I wrote down in my notes like, oh, she's having a good time.
Yeah.
She's having fun.
And then Devon tells Cobell about the rich woman who didn't remember her. And Cobell's like, well, after giving birth, who would remember anything, you know? She kind of
I
defends
wouldn't
her.
even remember Clark Gable if I had just given birth. Everyone
That's not a dated reference at all.
No.
Cobell. By the way, let's watch Casablanca. And then Devon says, what if they don't only sever people for work? And obviously, it looks to me like Cobell is hip to the fact that they 100% don't only sever people for work. And she tries to cover that, right? And then but then she says, interestingly, severed. I wonder why Mark did it.
Yeah, she immediately pivots the conversation back to Mark. Like I think it's a good way for her to change the subject because she doesn't want to go down that route of them severing people for other means. But it's a good.
I don't think it's
a good
just
out.
that, though. I
don't
do
think
think
that
she
either.
has a dread, unprofessional fascination with Mark specifically.
Oh, absolutely.
And like the fact that she doesn't have permission to be here currently. She's doing all of this stuff of her own free time and free will. And then she says, does Mark ever think he sees her? Which is, again, part of her like kink, you know what I mean? Because she puts them together all the time because it's referring to Miss Casey.
Yeah. It's her way of trying to figure out if their time together on the severed floor is bleeding out into the main floor. Like, do they truly not remember seeing each other or not remember each other when they're on the severed floor?
So fascinating to her.
But yeah, Devon's implying that this lady got the severance package done so she wouldn't have to feel childbirth.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what we're supposed to gather out of that?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. So only the NE would have to endure that. And the NE wanted to name it William.
Yeah.
But not
Fucking
so.
gnarly.
Not so.
That's sad. That's so sad.
That's crazy because that NE only wakes up when she's about to give birth.
Yeah.
She only knows the birthing cabin, you know? But Dylan is zoned out while working. He's still very upset over there. And Irv comes up with these shittiest excuses to go hang out with his boyfriend. Whatever happened to the soap labels? What are you talking about, buddy? Well, it seems like the soap labels should say soap. Seems like an O&D question.
I should investigate.
And then Mark's like, dude, we can't fucking go see O&D. I just explained this to you. And which is really, again, he's so childlike and he's so hurt by that. And then Dylan is super shitty. It's almost like I fucking told you there'd be consequences.
Dylan
Blows
does not
up on
have it.
Irving. Yeah. Ooh. And then we get the MDE. Because
The music
Helly has-
dance experience.
It's right. And Helly has reached 75% on the Sienna file, except she's only at 73%. but he's breaking the rules a little bit because he thinks a music dance experience could be better for the mood around here. A little frivolity could go a long way to pick up the morale.
Also, I think it's a really bad decision. I think he's really doing it to pick up the morale, but specifically for Dylan, like this is like, I'm going to rustle you up some perks. Like, you like this music dance.
Right.
But it's
it
great
backfires.
It backfires because again, like it's Milchick breaking the rules a little, bending the rules a little bit, and Irving sees that. So Irving's like, oh, so we can break the rules, whatever. And Dylan at the same time is like, oh, they break the rules all the time. Why do we have to live under these rules when management is like waking people up when they shouldn't be waking me up, and they're doing these dance experiences when we shouldn't be necessarily doing the dance experiences? It's a mistake on Milchick's part for sure.
I wish we could have seen a dance experience like before all of this and like where it goes normally. Like, what's that like? You know what I mean? Are they getting into it? Like,
well, you could see Mark and Irving popping.
He's like awkwardly like, yeah, but like he's got shit going on. You know what I mean? Like in a time where there was no shit going on, like was Dylan out there twerking it and shit?
Yeah, they're really letting loose.
He's definitely throwing it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is my head canon. But you know why it goes wrong more than anything? Is that Helly didn't go for the castanets.
What the fuck's a castanet?
It's the little things. I remember it from like music class in elementary school when basically we'd get a music dance experience.
The
maraca. All the different instruments.
Would you clack them together?
They're the little things.
I don't remember that.
I love the different music choices she had to choose from. There was
one genre, one accessory.
Yeah, there's body funk, bouncy swing, defiant jazz, which she chooses, effusive ska, exalted choral, exciting rap. That's the most white person description ever. Hootin' tootin' country, lofty orchestral, maximized rhythms, playful punk, reckless disco, spooky ambient, tearful emo, thoughtful grunge, wholesome big band, and wistful pipes.
Dylan was really hoping for tearful emo.
Yeah, he was.
Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
What of those choices, what would you guys have picked? If you got your own MDE.
I'm a thoughtful grunge guy from way back.
Maximized rhythms.
But exciting rap is tempting.
It is, yeah.
Hi, kids. Do you like violence?
Depending on the day, I might have gone for effusive ska.
I think you would have too, buddy.
But who's picking spooky ambient? Like, it's Felicia from O&D who's like spooky ambient, and it's just like, ooh, like just a Halloween soundtrack.
That's a trick, and they're going to fire whoever picks that. But Milchick's getting down. I mean, he's a phenomenal dancer. He's never looked hotter. Irv has got that snap move going on. He's just skitting it.
He's about to scat all over us. You know he is.
Mark's doing the white guy awkwardly, trying to hope this moment passes soon. But he finds Grainer's key card while dancing. What the fuck is this, right? Mm-hmm. And Dylan is about to crash out. He's about to break, right? And then in the middle of that, Dylan finally full on attacks Milchick, pushes him across the room into the table.
He's a biter.
He bites. He's biting me.
He's a biter.
Now he's going to need a full tetanus toxoid panel.
I love Milchick's like girlish scream. During all this.
Yeah, he fully breaks. He's not going to be able to withstand that when shit hits the fan.
He broke the skin.
He's not ready for this.
Skin.
Yep. So you've done it now, Dylan G, and he storms out to go get his Band-Aid or whatever. But he leaves the MDE party stuff there. I was thinking they could put on whatever record they wanted.
Mark's like, oh, yeah, exciting rap, let's go.
Let's go.
And Irving's like, give me those castanets, please.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, yeah, it's one of the best scenes of the show. Like, it's iconic to me. Just all the lighting that they have for the scene is so incredibly cool.
It starts out with a white flashing to blue, and then it starts going blue and red, and then it's all red. And like
as Dylan's about to break.
Yeah.
And he stands up to him even after the biting. He's like, I'm going to tell Miss Cobell. And Dylan, knowing that he, without permission, is the one that woke him up outside, says, oh, you want to go see her together? So he calls Milchick's bluff there. Oh, shit, right? Mm-hmm. The music dance experience is officially canceled. And this is where Dylan tells the crew that they can wake them up outside, right? He's like, I saw my son. And this made me cry. I think Zach Cherry is incredible in this scene. Just the way that he delivers that one 4-word line, like all of the implications of what that might feel like come through, and it's devastating.
Absolutely.
He was so fucked up that he wasn't actually on a boat, for one thing.
He's wrestling through a lot of emotions. He's like, I have a kid, but no boat. I could still be in the body competition, so I think I still got a chance on that one.
That's still game. So they're talking about everything in the supply closet and what that might mean, right? And he's like, no, fuck that. He's my son too. Because Irving's like, that's your Audi's son, Dylan. So Helly says that she wants to commandeer the waker-upper.
The waker-upper?
We don't have a better word for it. I mean, I'm open to ideas.
I co-sign it.
And this is where Mark comes clean about Grainer's key card. It's like, we could use this maybe. Why does your Audi have the key card of our head of security? I don't know. You know how this shit works. I have no fucking clue. Get off my back. And he knows where the security office is because PD showed him the office during a fire alarm last year. So I love that no matter what illegal, crazy shit Lumen's doing, they're still following safety protocols periodically.
Well, they kind of have to, is because they don't want their innies to die of a fire because the Audis need to be okay. They probably just like, hey, there's a fire. Here's a gift card to the Pips, you know?
That's right. That's right. It's interesting, though. Do you think they did the tornado drill and they had to like get in a corner and cover their heads and stuff?
Yeah, get under the desk during an earthquake.
Mm-hmm. All that stuff.
Did I ever tell you the tornado drill story from when I was in first grade?
No, go on.
So there was a tornado. This is when I lived in Goshen, Ohio, and it's a smaller, more rural area. And there was a tornado.
A township.
Yeah. And so we were doing the whole like everyone get in the hall, cover your heads, put your heads against the locker, all that stuff. And I remember like crying, like I'm 6 years old, I'm bawling my eyes out. And I don't know why I was doing this, okay? Because they were like, oh my God, Steve, what's wrong? And our family at the time, we had a giant ass rabbit. My sister had a rabbit as a pet. Big fucking rabbit. And it lived outside. Like she had like a pen for it and it lived outside. And this rabbit scared the shit out of me all the time because you would walk near it and it would go like bare its teeth and it would like demon scream at you. It was terrifying. I hated that thing. But for whatever reason, I was like, the tornado's going to kill the demon rabbit. Someone save the demon rabbit. And the teachers are like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. We're safe. The rabbit's safe, whatever. But then when I went home, I was kind of like, is that rabbit dead? It was fine. But
it's so rough to be a kid, dude.
I know,
it's
like
so hard.
I remember as a kid wondering, like, why do I care? That thing scares the shit out of me. Why am I crying? But yeah, that's what I think of whenever I think of tornado drills.
Caught up in your emotions, man. Tornadoes are scary.
They are scary.
And we're still this way as adults, but it's just about different kinds of things, you know? But you still have those moments like, why am I crying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. But Dylan's going to stay back and stall Milchick while they go to see what the security office is looking like. They create this plan. They're going to, let's all do it. All three of us, let's go. Mark unlocks the door with his Grainer key card. Irv immediately abandons the plan. Sorry, I got to go check on Burt. I can't hear you.
I can't hear you guys. Sorry.
What a piece of shit, man. They were breaking all the rules running out there, and he's just like, you know what? Fuck you.
He's putting the bird on a pedestal, you know?
It's so interesting to put yourself in Irv's shoes, though, because he legitimately doesn't know if Burt's alive.
Yeah.
Right? Because he doesn't know what happened after they all broke the rules like that. He may never see him again. And then immediately has this boon. Oh, I'm in the hallway now. And he's like, he just can't help himself. Like, think of it like that's your fiance in another office. You know what I mean? It's Sarah's over there. And then like me and Steve are supposed to go check the security office. And no, you're going to go check on Sarah. You know what I mean?
I guess. But
it's fun.
She'll be fine.
He's like, I probably wouldn't. I'm definitely going to the security office. No.
Bros before hoes. Here we go.
I don't know. I think it's
sweet, obviously, but
it's very sweet. But it is frustrating in that moment.
And he was also right because he shows up to the fucking retirement party, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so Mark unlocks the security door. There's no one in there. So Helly was correct because like we've only ever seen Grainer because at first they're like, what if there's just 10 security guards in there? What the fuck? That's a terrible idea. Mm-hmm. So they call it that. There's names and buttons everywhere. She finds like a security manual. But he sees Cobell coming up the elevator or coming down the elevator rather. So like, oh, we got to get the fuck out of here. She rips the page about how to do the overtime sequence out of the manual. But Cobell is stopped in her tracks by Natalie, who's got the board on the line. They're there for Harmony. She tells her that Doug Grainer is dead. We don't know how they found the body so quickly. And at that point, Harmony says, I have the data to prove that reintegration is possible.
Yeah, because she says the person who killed Grainer is probably the same person who reintegrated Petey.
We've talked about this. Reintegration is not possible. I can prove that it is. And she says, I'd be happy to share it with you without intermediaries. She wants to talk directly to the board, not to Natalie. The board agrees and says, okay, we can meet at the Egan Family Gala next week.
And she's like all leaned in, like, I'd be happy to share it without intermediaries. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Making sure the
she's
board
some
can hear her.
stank at Natalie.
Natalie hates when her job forces her to go to Cobell's department. She's like, oh,
this
God.
fucking bitch again.
This Chris
She's a
Cuckoo
little scared of her. O&D is having a good old time with that watermelon, and that watermelon is deftly prepared.
It's gorgeous looking.
You guys know how like catered corporate functions are and how much effort they put into like putting the cheese on the stick in a cute way and stuff. And I love that the show goes out of its way to kind of mock the coldness of that. And every time they have one of these little setups, it's like really well done. But yeah, the watermelon looks great. Meanwhile, Mark is reporting to the crew that there was no one in security, right?
Yeah. Isn't that fucked up? And it's like, well, hey, maybe just thinking that we're being surveyed is enough for us to keep in line. That's what their thinking is.
Dylan glances at the instructions. He's like, oh, I immediately understand how to do this. I'm smart. That's why I have 3 times as many finger traps as you guys. Okay. I'm really good at this shit. But there's 2 switches that have to be flipped simultaneously. It's like a nuclear launch code. But he's like, no, I can do it. I'll stay back. I can get it done.
I have the strength of 2 men.
That's right. That's great because I have the strength of 2 men.
That actually opens up a really interesting thought, is that if there's no one in the security office and the only people we see from management is Grainer, Cobell, and Milchick, who are the 2 people that helped Milchick awaken Dylan the previous night? Like, who are these 2? Because Grainer was out getting his head knocked in and Cobell was staying home that night. So
Yes.
it's I wonder if they're ever going to reveal who are the 2 people that were helping Milchick out.
Makes no sense at this point.
We just need more staff. They're understaffed.
Yeah, we've only seen 3 admin employees, and they're all accounted for. So who did that?
Did they go and like get the weird goat guy and what was that guy's name? Oliver? Yeah, they got Miss Casey. Miss Casey, we need you.
It could have been, well, I can't say yet who I think it was, but I'll tell you guys in the next episode who I think was in the office.
Okay.
But Milchick is clapping for the man of the hour, Burt. And then he sees
Burt's retiring.
You got to imagine how fucking pissed Milchick is when he looks over and sees Irv there.
Yeah. Greetings, designers, and one refiner. Son of a bitch.
Got to have that door looked at.
I tested it so many times. I thought it was solid.
And he says, he shows a video from Audi Burt, who is, again, only Christopher Walken could have done this so well. There's this hilarious part where he's like, I'm going to miss all of you. Even though sitting here right now, I have no recollection of meeting any of you. I don't even know how many of you there are. It's so
I'm certain
comical.
you'll remain with me in spirit in some deep yet completely inaccessible corner of my mind.
Yeah. It's such a good video because he's like negating everything about what who his innie is and who the others are. Like, it's not a big deal for me. I just go to work and I feel tired and fulfilled at the end of the day. But I haven't really put much thought into it. But it's Christopher Walken, so it's still endearing. Mm-hmm. And the part that slays me is like, and Burt, I see you. And he's pointing
He points at Milchick.
And he blows like the little whatever that thing is at him. And then at the very end, he's just like, all right, congrats. And he looks at his watch like, ope. And he hits us with a Midwestern ope. And that's how it ends.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love the part where he points, but it's to Milchick instead of Burt.
I see you.
He had a 50-50 shot and he fucked it up. And then Irv snaps. You're all just going to stand here and let him die? And Milchick's like, oh, he's retiring. It's not you smug motherfucker.
Oh, the way he says motherfucker.
Because it's fucking John Turturro, dude. He's gangster as fuck. He's got that dog in him, but he's been playing this goober this entire show. And so you forget who the fuck he is until that moment.
You smug motherfucker. And yeah, he's like, you're not severed. You get to carry your memories home with you every night. Like you, not like us, like we never existed or something like that. He's like, you never existed.
It's profound. And then Milchick ultimately lets him stay at Burt's request. He's not going to say anything else. Let him stay, you know.
You can stay if you don't bring shame on yourself, the founder, or his progeny.
That's goddamn right. Then we get Burt G's any retirement song selection. And then what I call a handshake train. They run a train on Burt.
Yeah, they do. Choo choo.
We laughing, Andy.
Just imagining it going down the other way.
Wow.
Felicia putting it down. And then we get Irv walking back with Milchick.
He's a changed man.
He's brought in. They stand there for a second before macro data refiners. And then we get Irv saying, let's burn this place to the ground. Yeah. Oh, I get chills. Because Irv's the Kier's puppet, right? He's the all-in guy, the great employee. And now they've done fucked up.
Yep.
Mark is having a drink. Audi Mark is having a beverage, an alcoholic beverage. And he's checking news. It looks like he has searched for Gans College specifically because all of them are related to the college, but nothing about a murder or a body being found.
Which, how did the board know that? Did they cover it up? What's going on there? Interesting.
We do not know. Then there's a knock at the door. It's Alexa. She had forgotten her phone, which she went an awful long time in today's day and age without her cell phone. And that honestly hurt me that I was like, there's no way I'd be that okay.
I wouldn't have made it down the stairs before I realized I didn't have my phone on me.
I would have tried to GPS home, even though I
I would have made it far,
even though I know the way.
You got to find the best route for traffic, you know?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But
he's plastered. He's super drunk.
He's drunk as fuck. He went full Andy. He's like, "What's up?
What's up?"
You trying to do what we did that one time?
I would have.
I'm not like that. No, I don't like that. Let's separate me from this.
He pulls out a picture of Gemma and rips it up. And I love his response though, because he's so drunk. Because she's like obviously disgusted by how fucked up he is and what he's doing. And he goes, "What? Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Like
really?
That was the coolest shit I've ever done, and you don't appreciate it."
I ripped up my dead wife for you. Okay.
He follows her outside, and she's like, "Bye." And she's so uncomfortable, drives away. He comes back in, and we get this voiceover while he's taping the photo back together. And again, the finger covers her face repeatedly. "My wife was extraordinary. My wife was allergic to nutmeg." And it's the same thing that Miss Casey does in the wellness checks. Your Audi is kind. Your Audi is allergic to nutmeg, right? So my wife always sneezed twice. That's a real thing, by the way.
Yeah, I always sneeze 3 times.
Dustin, our friend, sneezes 6 times every time he sneezes at all.
Jesus.
It's so fucking weird.
That's a lot.
Awful. Poor guy.
What were you going to say, Steve?
I was going to say at the end, he says, "I loved all of these things about her equally," which again is like something that Miss Casey did. Like, please react to all of these things equally. So there is a little bit of their interaction. I assume like a little bit of her is still with him in the Audi world. And also there's one other touch that I want to know if you guys caught on. Because when Alexa's leaving in the car, he's like, "My wife, she was great." And then he gets real sad and he goes, "She was extraordinary." And that's something that Rickon specifically told him Gemma was at the dinner party a couple episodes earlier, is that Emma was extraordinary. So it's just kind of this tie-in that this character is an extraordinary person. And I just like that little, they're doing layers upon layers of tying things together in this scene. I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
My wife liked other people's dogs. My wife thought cardigans looked ridiculous. It's a very specific one.
Sounds like an extraordinary person.
But we get the reveal. It's Miss Casey. And wow.
Wow, kazow.
When we do the mailbag episode next week, I would love to hear people's reactions. Like if you guys just want to write us how you took this, reveal, I would love it. It's one of my favorite reveals in TV shows of all time.
Where were you and what were you feeling in that moment? Streamingthingspod@gmail.com. We want to know. We want to know. But now it's time to talk about our 3 favorite moments of episode 7. But first, another word from our sponsors.
Hello, Stream Fiends, and a frosty welcome to the month of January. It's the start of a brand new year, and as we all set our resolutions and snuggle up to beat the chill, we want to take a moment to warm up our hearts by thanking the stars of our show, you, the listeners. Specifically, we want to give a super shout out to our super patrons who keep the heat on over here at the studio, and I much appreciate that because it's cold over here right now. So let's raise a hot cup of cocoa to our January heroes. Aubrey Carell, Daniel Pack, Nice Guy Eddie, Tulloon, Albus Stinkpot, Mattlestat, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Jim X, Lady Trashley, Milady, Sean Myers, Just Liz Calabria, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, E. Scramo, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bloffpum, AK Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Big Butthorn, Jer Ladanowicz, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Elbander, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, Stanton Valentino, Trisha Bueller, Sun Loving Mortal, Suzanne Road, Jadinklage Morgoon, Kloop, Kalisha Reeves, Paula Garcia, Brenda, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, Thrift Creeper, Casey McCain, and of course, Enza. But again, thank you to all our supporters. Thank you for being our Winter Wonderland warriors. Your support makes every episode a snowtop peak we're thrilled to conquer. But enough cheese. Let's get back to the episode.
And we're back, and it's time to talk about our Kier's 3 mandates, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode. Andy, what is your number 3?
For my number 3, I'm going to say it's the reveal at the end. Mark taping the letter back together. The voiceover. Well, like Alexa leaving, and I loved him like following her out there and like him talking to himself. Like, my wife was great. She was extraordinary. But then cutting over to his voiceover of like you already pointed out, the fact that the list and stuff was mirroring his experience in the wellness sessions. That's like a little bit of, you can see that it's bleeding through his experiences in the wellness sessions and stuff. And just the reveal, because I didn't remember it. And so I got that excited. You know how people sometimes wish that they could experience things again for the first time.
Yeah.
That would have been one of those for me, and I got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what a boon.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That's a great pick.
Being an idiot pays off sometimes.
A lot of times.
I'm glad that we were able to sever you for your rewatch of Severance.
Seriously.
Steve, what about you?
My number 3 is Irving standing up to Milchick. I mean, as soon as he just hits him with that, "You smug motherfucker." I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Kit, when you said, like, this is John Turturro. He's got that dog in him. So seeing him, like, flip that switch and just go from being nerdy, sweet Irving to just, like, I ain't standing for this anymore. You're getting in between me and my man. You're trying to kill my boy Burt. I'm not going to have it. And he's just, the way you could just, there's so much pain and hurt and anger in his delivery. It's fucking incredible. And Milchick is just beside himself. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you people today, but I have had it. Like, great scene. Amazing scene. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is, I think, Reghabi hitting Grainer with the baseball bat, just beating his brains out. I was so shocked in that moment. It's so unlike anything else we know this show to be, and so it's genuinely shocking. And it stays with you. And I loved it. You know what I mean? So that's my number 3. Andy, your 2?
My number 2 is kind of a cheat. It's like the whole dance party sequence, just because it's absurd and awesome and weird, and Milchick can fucking cut a rug, and I love that. But then Dylan losing his shit and his heartfelt moments after, where he's like, and then he hugged me, and now I have to live the rest of my life with remembering that. That's not fair. And like, it's just the whole sequence, like that was this show bottled up in one moment, where it's just like this absurdity in this workplace, and then this super heartfelt human moment. It's just fucking beautiful.
Yeah, my number 2 is Andy's number 3. It's the Miss Casey reveal. It's such a powerful moment. Like we mentioned before, it's got a lot of callbacks to what have previously been set up between the two characters. And it's just a really intimate and beautiful moment of a guy just piecing together the memory of his lost wife. And he's finally, this character has been so hell-bent on not facing his emotions. He's literally severed himself so he doesn't have to deal with the prospect of facing his emotions half the day. And when people try to get him to open up about it, he just won't do it. He's like, he's never trying to look inward and heal. And this is a very intimate moment where he's literally taping up this memory of a person. And it's kind of cool that when he shows the photo of Gemma or Miss Casey, initially, like, it's out there. His thumb's not over her, but like it's just out of focus enough where, like, if you squint, you still can't quite tell who that is. So when they finally reveal who his wife is, it's a big what moment, and that'll live with me always. Like, that was such a great reveal, and it's well done. My number 2. It would have been my number 1 in any other episode, but this is such a great episode. It's only number 2, which says something about this episode.
There are so many good moments. My number 2 is Irving's standing up to Milchick. You smug motherfucker.
Yeah.
Again, like the baseball bat, it comes in like a truck. And just
hey, funny.
So unlike what you expect from that character. And it's so cathartic because he just puts up with so much shit. Dylan's been yelling at him, and Mark's been blowing up on him, and he just takes it. You are correct. I am not acting befitting a senior member of the refiner department. He's just always that guy. And in that moment, he snaps. I'm going to put my foot down, goddammit. Yeah, that's my number 2. I love that. I love John Turturro. It's such a great moment. Andy, what's your favorite moment of episode 7?
That's my number 1.
Oh, wow.
Irv confrontation with Milchick. And especially like when he's like, are we being punished for this? Like, you get to walk out of here with your memories. Nobody can rip them away from you, snuff them out like you never existed. Like, it's the most heartfelt, like, so it's his turn. I mean, this is the turning moment for him where he's like, I have one thing in this world that I love, and you're taking it away from me. And this is, we're going to burn this place to the fucking ground. It's, I got chills when we were going back over it in the recap, and I'm getting chills again thinking about it. It's just such an effective, beautiful scene. And heartbreaking. Yeah.
I agree. Steve, you're number 1.
My number 1 is, of course, the scene that this episode gets its name from, the Defiant Jazz scene, the dance scene. It's my favorite because it's fun. It's weird as fuck. Like, it's so odd and strange and like avant-garde in a way. And the way it's filmed is great with like these nice like rotating moves. And then you get that, was that a story cam when they've got the thing, kind of the harness on the guy? I don't think they're doing a story cam, but it's story cam-esque where they got the camera right up in Milchick's face as he's like doing like the swan dance, and
the camera keeps staying below him, looking up at him, and it makes it so much weirder. He's like looming over the screen.
Yeah, and then you pair that with the really awkward, like, okay, yeah, this is fun. Like, I think part of them are having fun, but they're also like, none of them should know how to dance. This is such a weird perk to give these people that, like, in theory don't like I don't think Irving's going to start popping and locking it because his Audi knows how to pop and lock. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a weird perk to give people. Like, they don't even know what, like, if you're like, hey, what is ska? Do they actually register what ska is? It's interesting. And like, how much of their memory is taken away from this. But either way, and just the fact that they use the lighting and the close-ups and the editing to ramp up the tension between Milchick and Dylan until finally it reaches a boiling point, and then he's a biter. He bites him. What a crescendo to a scene that's fun, but so incredibly tense at the same time. It's masterfully done, and I think it's the most iconic so far. It's the most iconic sort of sequence in this show for me, at least. I really adore it.
I agree. That's my number 1 as well. The MDE, the music dance experience. It's one of those. It's a sequence of images that comes to mind when you think about this show at all, and purely because of Milchick's moves, man. I mean, that is indelible. Just a fucking great sequence, which brings us to our final segment, the nomination of our Waffle Party recipients. Who are we going to give it to? Who earned the Waffle Party in episode 7? Andy, what do you think?
John Turturro with a bullet. That sequence there at the end was so powerful, and just the stank and character that he's able to put into Smug Motherfucker. Just for that alone, it'd be worth it. But then, the whole bit before that, his turn at the end there, John Turturro fucking crushed it in this episode.
Hell yeah. I'm giving my Waffle Party to the man that really anchors my favorite scene in the entire show so far, and that is Tremel Tillman, Milchick. I mean, the guy has moves. He's moving it, and he's doing a lot in this episode too. Like, he's got this exasperation, like Grainer's not here, Kobo's not here. What's going on? Hey, everybody. He's able to turn that super smiley face to be so menacing. Like, I got you your own coffee, Mark. It's straight from the hills of Rwanda, motherfucker. And then, of course, I mean, the dance moves. Like, I think any other, it's so hard to imagine anyone else as the center point of that scene and making it work so well. Like, he's the glue, I think, that really brings that scene together because of how over the top he is with the moves. And part of me feels like maybe the MDR is for that character. Like, he needs to blow off some steam. So he's like, oh, I'm going to...
MDE.
MDE. I'm gonna get two birds at the same time. I'm gonna give Dylan his perk. I'm gonna let off some steam myself and have a dance party. I need it. But yeah, he really sells that scene for me. That's why I'm giving it to Tremel Tillman.
I also love how much Milchick loves acronyms. Like, he's just so indoctrinated into corporate. At one point later, he goes. 3 times in a row, R of the Q. Like, he does that when it doesn't save you time to do it. It's just, he just fucking loves that. That's a great choice. I also think you could give Christopher Walken.
Yes.
I wouldn't bat an eye at you giving it to Christopher Walken yet again.
Yeah, the 3 names I had for this episode were John Turturro, Christopher Walken, or Tremel Tillman.
I'm going to give it to Zach Cherry.
Oh, Zach Cherry too. Yes. Great choice.
He's a great comedic relief, and yet one of the few people to bring tears to my eyes throughout this show's run in this episode, and does it with one 4-word line. And he doesn't do a ton. It's not like a really showy performance. It's just like a dumbfounded, this is fucked up kind of thing, And John Turturro is my favorite performer in the show, and my favorite character is Irving. But I think Zach Cherry has earned my Waffle Party from this episode. Gosh darn it. That
would make him happy to hear. Dylan would love to hear that he earned a Waffle Party.
He does love perks.
That's an embarrassment of riches he's got under that desk.
He does love perks. Coveted as fuck, the Waffle Party.
I wonder why.
Which brings our coverage of episode 7 to a close. Thank you guys for listening. Monday, you'll get our coverage of episode 8. And then we'll get 9 in before season 2 drops.
Friday's episode 8.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
And then
Monday is episode 9.
That's right. God damn it. Go over to patreon.com/streaming things to get ad-free episodes, versions of these episodes, to get access to the Discord at certain tiers with a thriving community of wonderful people. Also, our Game of Thrones coverage, multiple movies each month, all kinds of other shows dropping in 2025. That's where you get that. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Don't forget to email the show at streamingthingspod@gmail.com to be part of our Severance Season 1 mailbag. That's coming soon as well. We love you guys. That's all the time we've got for right now. We've got to go return some videotapes. My name is Kit.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Streaming Things, streaming Severance.
Happy streaming.